We did it. Oh, we did it. What's happening, guys? My name's Omer. I'm one part of that Millwall podcast, post-match sports in the AM after that fantastic win for the Lions last night at Sheffield United, Bramall Lane. Thanks for joining me, guys. Well, where do I even start with that one? A 1-0 win, away from home, courtesy of Josh Coburn, on loan from Middlesbrough, coming up with the goods with a proper striker's finish. Great build up to the goal as well, of course. We'll get on to that in a second. I just thought I'd give my thoughts. Team lineup, I was quite happy with what I saw initially before the game. Obviously, we went with the 4-4-2 or 4-1-2-1-2 or whatever combination you want to go with. Ultimately, we started with two strikers, Josh Coburn and Mihailo Ivanovic continuing. We also had, obviously, normal kind of span of thing. Obviously, the absentee, really noticeable, was obviously Japhet Tanganga. So we had Jensen goal. Right back, returned to the side for the first time starting and doing a fantastic job lasting the full game. Ryan Leonards. Tristan Crama shifts across to right side centre half. Left side centre half, Jay Coburn. Left back, Joe Bryan. We saw a return of Billy Mitchell into the midfield alongside Casper De Norre. And then, obviously, Luke Cundle comes in for Aaron Conley, who was an absentee. Not quite sure why he wasn't available yesterday, but nonetheless, Cundle came in. We also had, on the right-hand side, George Honeyman, continuing that position after the weekend. And up top, as mentioned, dynamic duo of Mihailo Ivanovic and Josh Coburn. What a week of results so far for the Lions. Going to the game, I was a bit sceptical, to be honest. If you asked me to kind of give you an expectation, I probably thought we'd go down battling, maybe lose 1-0. We're difficult side to score against, difficult side to beat, if you take the exception of the Plymouth game that happened. Well, it feels like a time ago now, but yeah, started the game well. I think the instinct was just kind of using the two up top. I think it was quite clear from the get-go. Alex Neil set the side out to not necessarily get all men behind the ball. Typically away from home, I find with our sides, we go away from home, we'll be dogged, we'll get in deep, sitting like banks of five almost with the 10 players that are outfield on the pitch. It wasn't like that last night, especially for the first half and a bit of the second half until we had to make a change, really. You see, Ivanovic and Coburn were both just staying on the halfway line. And it was really noticeable, I felt, anyway, watching the game. I don't know what you guys thought watching that back. But yeah, obviously we got our joy. I think the first 10 minutes, we had a couple set pieces in wide areas, Honeyman whipping a couple balls in. We kind of kept the territory in their half, which was quite a shock for me. Bramall Lane is a tough place to go. I saw some weird stat before yesterday's game that they haven't completed a league double over us for over 40 years. I think 1983, 1984 season. Well, that's continued now, and obviously getting a great result. It's just, it's the cherry on the top, isn't it, in a sense? So I was really impressed with likes of Billy Mitchell. Obviously, him and De Norre were both kind of getting forward, offering that kind of third outlet. So obviously when one of the forwards would win the knock on, it was typically De Norre, and that was typified through the goal. I think, Mitchell obviously picks up the ball in midfield. De Norre's made a forward run. And I think last night we'd actually done a space which would be uploaded on podcast media forums if you want to find that there. I think Jay compared it to a Dennis Bergkamp-esque turn from Casper De Norre. He was kind of back to goal, swiveled round. There was no defender to do it to kind of get the ball past in that sense with the reference to Dennis Bergkamp. But nonetheless, he kind of swiveled, gets the ball forward into the path and the feet of Josh Coburn, who holds off his marker, gets the yard, and it's a pure striker's finish. It's an unbelievable finish from Coburn. It's not necessarily like the placement, it was just power and just obviously get the ball on target and give the keeper a job to save it, and he couldn't. So, yeah, I think, from there onwards, I think we had a couple more chances throughout the game. I'll come on to the big chance in the second half from Mihailo Ivanovic. The rest of the first half, we felt somewhat untroubled. I know they had quite a few corners and were knocking in the wide areas, but how we set up, he gave the fullbacks a lot of responsibility, Leonard and Bryan, to defend from the wide areas. And it wasn't necessarily Cundle and Honeyman were tracking. Obviously, they were doing the effort and putting the donkey work in to try and kick the ball upfield. But he really tasked the players to deal with the wide areas and obviously try and limit the threat Sheffield United carried. And we did that in the first half, I felt like. Second half comes in and we see the introduction of Rak-Sakyi just to highlight the fact that Sheffield United had abundance of talent on the pitch. Obviously, they had on the bench, I think Callum O'Hare came on, Tom Cannon came on. Players that would get into our side and play pretty much every week, but these are the players that can't get into the side at the minute, and highlights the quality and the financial power they have. But Rak-Sakyi comes on, and within seconds, he manages to miss a sitter. I think second half, you could probably say we held up a bit of luck in that half, but nonetheless, the players are throwing the bodies on the line, committing themselves to the cause, and just really dug in. It's a typical Millwall way performance, I felt like. And I felt like whilst you could look at the stats and statistics and say, Sheffield United probably could have and should have maybe even won the game. It was an away performance where we dug in deep and managed to hold our own and kind of hang in there in a sense. I think Tristan Crama, I highlighted it yesterday on our Twitter space, which again, you can listen to and find across Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find it. It was uploaded this morning. I think he highlighted the fact that he's a ready-made replacement for Japhet Tanganga. We want to be a cynic. We know that Tanganga has probably been our best player this season, along with Casper De Norre, who's just constantly coming better and better every week, I find. But with obviously the absentee of Tanganga, we didn't even miss him last night. And I think credit has to go to Tristan Crama for that. He was constantly on the end of things, heading them away. He's got that bit of speed in him as well. So whilst you could say Cooper's quite good at defending his 18-yard line, and at times, he heads the ball away, kick, bite, bollock, whatever you want to put it, Crama has that bit of quality on the ball too, and also a bit of speed to recover in places. And he made it look effortless yesterday, I felt like. And we didn't miss Tanganga, which is the best compliment I think you could pay to Crama. I think him and Mitchell, for me, it felt like Mitchell was everywhere across that defence. I think, as we mentioned, De Norre was sometimes getting forward. And Billy Mitchell was, I felt like, left side, right side, everywhere, keeping the ball well at all when he was under pressure. It was a weird performance from Sheffield United. I think they'll probably look back at it and think there's a missed opportunity. And it just felt like their players wasn't up for it. At the weekend, Chris Wilder bollocked their fans after losing away at Oxford, and the kind of sense of entitlement I think he kind of highlighted. But the atmosphere was strange, that it felt like. And also performance itself from them. I don't think you'd be very positive about their ambitions to finish in the top two with the likes of Burnley and Leeds competing with them. So I think they've dropped out to third place. But obviously we'll get on to our highlight of the second half, or low light, depends how you look at it. Mihajlo Ivanovic, obviously 2 at the weekend with his heads. I can only describe it as a counter-attacking break down the right-hand side. Obviously, Sheffield United committed bodies forward, rolled the dice in a sense. And then Honeyman and Coburn link up, and Coburn's play through down the right. He's under pressure from the centre half, and he squares it across goal to just the edge of the area. And it felt like time stopped. Ivanovic is in abundance of space. There's no defenders in front of him, just the goalie. The ball trickles towards him. You're thinking, take a touch. Or I don't know what you're thinking. Just obviously execute something to score fucking goal. Do you know what I mean? But he just tamely put us out Cooper in goal. And I think we'll let Ivanovic off that one. I think, we won the game. That's the most important thing. The pair of them up front worked their asses off. I mentioned Honeyman in there as well. And it felt like it was just a gritty, dogged, determined performance to try and hold on to that clean sheet last night. So, yeah, I mean, obviously towards the end of the game, we made 5 changes. I think he was begging for something different. He threw a Marco initially for Kundal. Sav also came in for De Norre. And then after that, we then threw more players on, fresh legs, and everyone that came on. I think Langstaff came on. Obviously, I think, who else came on actually? It's escaping me. But I think it was clear everyone that came on grafted. I think Wes Harding was another one as well. And yeah, it was just a clear intention from the players, and Ryan Wintle, just come back to me, clear intention to do the donkey work, hold out, ride your luck at times as you have to away from home, and get the result. And we find ourselves 3 points off the playoffs, with Middlesbrough to come to town on Saturday at the Den. Can we dream? Can we? That's the real question. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm doing this more to highlight the fact that we done a Twitter space last night, and it won't be posted on here, obviously, but you can find it across the podcast forums. I'll link it in the description below as well. Be sure to tune in, listen to it, and hear some initial reactions straight after the game last night. So, thanks for watching, everyone. Up the Lions. Let's see what we can do on Saturday. See you on Friday night for Friday Night Live.